5 years of semen retention. I'm gonna give you the honest truth, because let's be real, it's different when you practice semen retention in 2 beautiful relationships versus the 2 breakups that came after it. It's different when you are on a student exchange, meeting people all the time, every day, meeting women all the time, every day, versus when you're on a monk mode in isolation, working on your business. So when I look at 99% of the videos out there on semen retention, you get a recollection of the moment, the excitement this person is going through. Because he might be traveling in East Asia, meeting women all the time. And you might be at home, grinding, more in a routine, not meeting people all the time. Maybe it's just seeing your friends and colleagues. So this guy telling you how this should make you more attractive, and you're not quite seeing it, I find it quite deceiving. So I'm gonna give you the raw truth. Is it worth it? After 5 years, should you try it? What lessons did I learn? I'm gonna do my best to give as much value to you in this video. What's up, man? 4,400 role models. Still, it's for me hard to believe. So many of you guys are out there trying to be the best version of yourself. And I commend it. And I want to thank you for being here. Let's get into the video. First off, let me give you some clarity, a little disclaimer, because when I say 5 years of semen retention, a lot of you guys, you crazy motherfuckers, you think that I haven't ejaculated for 5 years.
What the fuck is going on here?
I strongly advise against it. My preference is to go not longer than 1 or 2 months, as it provides everything you need to see. And personally, the research isn't far enough in terms of prostate risk and all that stuff. So that is what I mean when I say 5 years of semen retention. Cycles of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, mostly 1 month. And I can count on 2 hands the times that I watched porn in these 5 years. All right, let me start with the beginning. When I discovered semen retention. I just arrived in Taiwan for my student exchange. I just got out of my first relationship 2 weeks before that. You know, of course, I wasn't really feeling like watching porn. I was reading a book called The Way of the Superior Man, which you should read. At the same time that I read, by coincidence, the chapter on semen retention in this book, I was already feeling different and good about myself in new ways, right? And so these things came together at a time where I was at the center of many social groups. I was meeting people all the time. I was connecting people and connecting groups. Very fortunate timing, because in the beginning of semen retention, what I notice with other men as well is that you really care most about the attraction part, the aura, the kind of expressing this sexual energy in this way. And so I did. For these 6 months, I was mostly occupied with women and attraction and sleeping around. And even though my value system has completely changed, I look back at it positively. Yeah, man, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And in this phase, I can tell you what I found important. Streaks, I was constantly, it's really funny if I think about it, I was constantly thinking of the day that I was on, like day 6 or day 7 or day 8, and sort of attaching the attraction that I was exuding. I was just relating that to the streak I had. If your goal is to seduce women and do all that stuff, then it's definitely an effective strategy. A focus on expressing myself with women, a focus on the streak, that is really what marked this initial phase of semen retention. And I'm telling you this because it might very well be different for you starting out. Honestly, I was on a student exchange, a bunch of young people being young people. So the value I would extract here is that if you are mostly interested, just like I was in that phase, in the attraction, in the aura, the energy, right? And you want to express that with women, and your current life isn't designed for you to experience it, first of all, don't feel bad about the fact that you're not seeing that side of yourself and of semen retention. And secondly, you might have to get a little uncomfortable to create that kind of lifestyle for yourself. And the easiest way to do that is to organize an event. I did that a few times in my life, and this is simply the easiest way to get to know new people. Organize something with the communities that you're in, and so people will come up to you easily and you'll get to meet a lot of people. If you want to go the hardcore route, start approaching women. And if you don't feel bad about it. The second chapter was the relationship I got into after Taiwan. This relationship was, together with semen retention, beautiful in a whole nother way, right? It wasn't anymore about streaks and attraction, and all that stuff was kind of maturing already at that point, as it does with semen retention, by the way. Like that initial hype and excitement, it will, die down a little bit, and that's really for the better, just more grounded. This chapter was also seeing yourself in a new light, but now differently, more in a sense of expressing your masculinity, right? When you're in a relationship, then this will stimulate you to be a man, right? In semen retention, this part is also amplified. So you start becoming more consistent and you start leading more, right? Taking more initiative and becoming more stable, I would say. This was such an important experience because before that, in my first relationship, I wasn't expressing this masculine side of myself yet. And semen retention truly amplified this urge to do so in this relationship. If you allow it, you'll get to see a very natural, loving, masculine side, and that feels so good, man. It feels so good to express it. Also, very interesting is your sex life. I know that a lot of guys think, and that's often the questions I get from friends, how are you able to last and how is your sex life not gonna be damaged when you retain? And that's really funny to me because the opposite really happens. You become so in control, you can decide how long you want to go. You become in control of that very raw sexual energy that for 99% of men out there is completely ruling them, right? And it's sort of a race to climax and you're not really aware of your partner. And on semen retention, you are almost more aware of your partner than you are of yourself. And I would also say that sex becomes more spiritual, right? When you are tuned into the other person and you're expressing your masculine desires, then you will sort of merge in these moments, right? And it's beautiful, man. And after 5 years, I can say with confidence that semen retention will do this for you too. If you are in a relationship where you get to feel like a man and you are able to allow semen retention to help you express your masculinity, this will extend itself into your sex life. You will lead more easily, you will express yourself more easily, and you will be more tuned into her because it's less of a conflict for you to not ejaculate and control your own energy. I will close this chapter with these cycles, right? As a lot of you guys might be wondering, how does that even work? If you have a girlfriend and how are you still retaining? I'm telling you, if you can get to the point where you're having sex and you're not ejaculating, you're gonna see the next level of semen retention. And I truly mean that. You will avoid these very common dips in your energy and your drive as you ejaculate once or twice or 3 times a day when you're with your partner, and you will stay more consistent. And when you manage to have sex and to not ejaculate, it's like taking a bump of cocaine. It makes you feel so energetic, as if you keep in your body all the energy that you just created together. It is very tough, but that is what I used to do in these relationships in order for me to continue retaining as I wanted. The cycles, however, became shorter. I wasn't doing 1 month and 2 months. I was usually doing like 1 week or 2 weeks. I truly found this to be a perfect routine to keep you stable and energetic all the time, right? And it's almost like it doesn't affect you. You don't have this post-nut depression type shit that you used to have when you were watching porn. So I would definitely highlight that as well. Chapter 3, let's call it breakups and hard times alike. So what I noticed after one of these breakups that I had, is that semen retention is an amplification of your reality. So if your reality sucks and you're going through some shit, then this will be amplified as well. I find that this is a more spiritual side to the practice, because the more intensely those negative experiences are, you being able to willingly observe these emotions and experiences, I think the better you will process them, the quicker and in a more healthy way. But what I did notice was, after one of these breakups, because you experience your desire more intensely, you also experience the validation from women more intensely. I think we all know that, of course, being in love, being physical, being in a relationship, or even sleeping around, it gives you the feeling that you're a man sexually, right? In a very superficial way. And when your desire is extremely high, then you will also feel this pull towards being validated by women. And after one of these breakups, I really fell into the trap of validating myself. So I was sleeping around, but in that time I was also maturing in my semen retention journey. So every time I was sleeping around, I would increasingly feel more empty. It was this very mechanical urge to have sex, and to do so with women that I didn't even have an emotional connection with. And so over time this started to create some conflict and tension in myself, because I felt super empty after these dates, right? And I needed to bump my head into a wall a few times to realize that this was really not good for me. And that's where my value system, guided by semen retention, changed to something that says, I'm not gonna have sex anymore with women that I don't feel an emotional connection with. So I stopped doing that. And when I stopped doing that and really taking care of myself and keeping this energy to me, that's also when I attracted a new girl into my life. And you see how when you keep that energy to yourself and you're loving to yourself, you will also attract women of a higher standard. That is also something that after these 5 years I can tell you with confidence. But it's hard, because I know, man, we all have this validation cycle, right? This urge of like, I'm a man, so I should be having sex, right? And the longer the time passes, the more you have to fight that completely incorrect urge that it says something about you. With semen retention, I really matured to a point where I feel more valuable when I keep that energy to myself, and when I don't just dispense it to a woman that we probably both don't have an emotional connection with each other. It's definitely a more challenging journey, right? To get there and to really let go of that urge to validate yourself with women and sex. But when you get to that point, I think you really evolve into the next version of yourself as a man. When you reach that point where you think, man, you go through the same fucking cycle, man. When you're sleeping around and you feel validated, and when you don't sleep around and you don't feel validated, and it's a process of finding that validation within yourself, and semen retention helps you with that if you're willing to face it. And I think that also kind of chronologically brings me to the fourth and last chapter, which is, let's call it something greater. I was in Lisbon, Portugal, and I went there for 5 weeks to really challenge myself, because I realized that I was never really alone for long periods in my life. I always had people around me, and I noticed, let's challenge myself and be alone for a while, like a sort of retreat. And that was tough, man. I was, as I said already, semen retention amplifies your reality. So in that moment I was experiencing, of course, loneliness. And this is a very important message I want to give to you. I went there with the desire to feel these emotions and to grow past them. But it can get really intense. And I'm going to keep it real with you. If you don't have the structure in your life to deal with that kind of loneliness, or that kind of, if you feel isolated right now in your life, then I don't think semen retention is the answer for you. If you're listening to all these amazing stories about attracting women and becoming more social and all this shit, but you have no idea how to express yourself socially, then semen retention isn't the answer. And I would want to motivate you to tend to these issues first, right? If you have no idea what to do with your life, tend to that issue first before jumping on semen retention, because you will fall into the trap of going for some massive streak and it will just have you flatlining, man, because you don't know what to do with that energy, right? You cannot express the energy socially, you cannot express it in your purpose, in your career, and you cannot express it with women. Then I would advise you to establish at least one or two of those first, so you have an outlet for that energy, right? Because you cannot just go to the gym or martial arts and get rid of all the energy there. It is such a massive increase in energy and willpower and drive, and if it gets stuck inside you, it can cause problems. So I find that a very important message to bring across to you, man. But if you are eager to go into these more darker sides within yourself with semen retention and have them be amplified, I'll tell you this, and I would conclude the video with this as well. When you get through these phases of extreme challenge, every single time I noticed in the last 5 years, I found a more evolved version of myself. I've seen myself transition, for example, as a man who cared about results and views and validation and money, to someone who truly cares about serving, to serving you, for example, with these videos, or through coaching if you're one of my clients, or through the community that's soon going to be launched. I find that the deeper I go into this semen retention journey, the more I simply care about something greater. So purpose. Purpose is always about serving others. It is a specific formulation of how you serve others. And when that starts to become truly the thing that you care about, then money and material successes and women and attraction, these things all happen naturally as a result of you being an abundant person. That I can also say with confidence. So is it worth it? After 5 years of semen retention, yes, I feel like I'm just getting into it as I'm exploring new evolved versions within myself, depending on the phase that I'm going through. And semen retention is allowing me to do that much more powerfully, more lovingly, and quicker. And so I suppose that a practice that starts initially with streaks and women and attraction actually ends in something quite spiritual. As you mature within the practice, you automatically, naturally become a man of integrity. And as you stick to that integrity more and more and more, as you are tempted again and again, you find new versions of yourself. And that is very much a spiritual journey that I advise for any man out there. Hey man, this might be a very big opportunity for you, and I'm very excited to share it with you. I've been coaching men for the last 4 years with love, pleasure and success. We are currently building the Masculine Direction Network, a community that holds everything that the modern man truly needs. This is not for everyone, I must say. The only requirement is that you are a man that has this fire, right? You've been blessed and cursed with this desire, this deep urge to reveal all your potential and become all that you could be as a man. The leader of the home, to become a provider, a protector. If that's the case, and you do have that fire, and you think it's time to reveal all of it, then I'm talking about you, and then this is for you. So how would that look like, and what would you get? Very simple. Coaching. Every week there's group calls with me personally hosting the call. Community, a private network of men that are all trying to become everything that they are, with different, unique, valuable skills to collaborate. All my high-level courses will be released in this community. So we're talking about mastering semen retention, becoming masculine in love. We're talking about finding your purpose and monetizing it in the digital economy. And of course, when you are in, you're in. So the new courses that I'm working on currently, you will have access to them. All of it. A ruthless accountability system that makes it almost impossible for you to not do the thing. And lastly, the book club, where we read and review a book every month with an additional call that you can join. Everything a man needs in this noisy internet age will be in the masculine direction. If you're interested, you can sign up and put your name on the pre-launch list. From this list, me and my team will pick 20 men to become the backbone of this community and pay a ridiculously low price for all the time you will spend in the community. After those 20 are picked, the price will go to the normal, still ridiculous price, which will be higher, of course. If you're a man with a fire, you're interested, and you're serious, and put your name on the list, me and my team will get in touch with you anyhow.